Hello and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon tutorial video with me, Bubblebox, and for this video and indeed the next one we're going to be looking at the solo campaign. Now to get into the campaign screen you go click on the solo icon up here and then there you are, there's the campaign screen. Now in Wargame Red Dragon, the solo campaign, you can choose among several operations that take place in Asia from the end of the 70s to the beginning of the 90s. Each operation features a different challenge. Currently there are 4: Busan Pocket, Bear v Dragon, Pearl of the Orient and Climb Mount Narodnaya. These go up in difficulty, the Busan Pocket being the easiest and Climb Mount Narodnaya, even pronouncing it's quite difficult, being the most difficult campaign out of the 4. Now each campaign offers special objectives and you play different nations in each campaign. So if you have a quick look at the Busan Pocket one first of all, if you click on the Busan Pocket or highlight it and go to launch, it won't actually launch the game, but it will give you a little bit of extra information, some information here, and it'll also be showing you the nations that are involved. So in this case we're going to be playing the Americans and the South Koreans, and we're going to be fighting the North Koreans. Difficulty is easy and the year is 1987. So if we leave that and go back, you can see it does actually say on the screen that we're going to be playing the South Koreans, but in fact we do play the South Koreans and the Americans in the Busan Pocket scenario. Look at one more example, the United Kingdom, and if we have a look at that, again some information about old Craggy Thatcher and her mob fighting for Hong Kong against the Chinese, and they're allied up with the Canadians and the Anzacs. So you're going to be playing the British, the Anzacs and the Canadians against the Chinese in a battle for Hong Kong in that scenario. Once you launch the campaign, there's a loading screen followed by a brief introduction as to some sort of historical or semi-historical introduction to the campaign, and that's followed by some tips given by your commanders and generals in the field as to what's going on and what to expect in the campaign. It's worth reading through these the first time you play the campaigns so you get some sort of idea as to what to expect once you start fighting. Now, the campaigns are played on a strategic and tactical aspect which basically complement each other and create a link between the turn-based phase and the real-time battles, and each campaign comes with its own strategic map. When you start a campaign you can see the strategic map for that campaign, and this is the strategic map for the campaign the Busan Pocket. The goal is either to take control of the enemy zones or to resist the enemy's invasion. Now in this first campaign basically you have 2 roles. One is to defend the Busan Pocket, which are these 4 regions here coloured in blue, and you're defending against the North Koreans, which have all these units up here coloured in red. Now after a couple of turns you will also get some units which start to gather up here in the northwest part of the map, some sea units and some marine units, in which you are able to invade Seoul, and your second objective basically is to attack Seoul, Chorwon and Sochko, and to gain those 3 regions by the end of the 10th turn. And you can see some hatched areas here as well. These red hatched areas, these are areas that you are not able to attack into during this particular mission, although the enemy is able to attack out of those regions during this mission. Now the first phase of the campaign is a turn-based phase, and you have some battle groups represented by all of these pawns here. These blue pawns are yours and these red pawns are the North Korean pawns, and these pawns are your battle groups that are under your command. Now each battle group works a little bit like a deck, except that lost units will be lost for the rest of the campaign. Now if you click on one of these pawns you can see the makeup of your battle group, which comes up in the top right hand corner here. So this is our Special Aviation Regiment as written up here. And this window basically gives the traits and makeup of your battle group that you are clicked on. It gives the structures, the morale, the cohesion and the initiative and things like that. So This particular one has a morale of 5, an initiative of 2, it has 48 units in it. It contains some logistics unit including 4, 5, 6 commands and some choppers, some supply choppers, a bunch of infantry, a few recon units and some helicopters as well. Now each land battle group can either be a regiment, a battalion or a company, and I'll briefly explain what each of those mean. Now a regiment, the regiments are represented by the pawns topped by a flag. So the one we've got highlighted at the moment is a regiment. We've got another one up there. So these are your spearheads really. These contain the highest number of troops and also normally contain, oops I clicked that, normally contain several or will contain several command units as well. So these units can therefore pretty much operate on their own, or they're autonomous, but they are always more effective when reinforced by battalions or specialised companies, which are the other types of pawns in the game. Now battalions, if I can find one, I think this must be a battalion. Yes, this is the heavy armoured battalion. Battalions are made of a small number of specialised units, in this case armoured. And you can see we've got 1 logistics truck and 12 tanks in this specialised battalion deck, and these basically are used to support your regiments, your spearheads. So each will have a single command unit. They can fight on their own, but they can't really be deployed effectively, and sending a battalion into battle on its own is possible but not really recommended. Really needs to send it along with a regiment. Now companies are the other one. I think this logistics unit is a company. So companies are specialised units without a command unit. So these haven't got any command unit at all, as you can see. This one's just made up of 2 FOBs and 16 cargo supply trucks. They cannot engage in tactical battles on their own, and if the enemy makes a breach into their sector, they will have to retreat if they're not with regiments and or battalions. So in order to fight, they need a company to accompany a regiment or battalion that has got a command unit. Now we've also got airplanes. We've got some airplanes here. Planes are a little bit different. They cannot trigger a battle on their own, and they can only join in with an existing battle. Also, they must fly back to the airport at the end of the opponent's turn. So this means that they remain above the area that was assigned during the player's turn, and then also they will stay there during the AI's turn as well, and then they will return to the airport. Now if this, see the airport sign here, if this airport is destroyed, so if the enemy managed to take this sector in some way, this squadron and all the other planes that are attached to this airport will be lost for the rest of the campaign. You can reassign planes to different airports as well. You can fly to a new airport. We haven't got really one in range at the moment, but if there was, you could fly it to a new airport if it's got enough initiative points. I'll explain initiative points in a minute, and you click on the assign button down here, and that will then be assigned to the new airport in a different area. Helicopters, I'm not sure if we've got any choppers at the moment, but we haven't got any chopper squad. Oh, we haven't got any choppers at the moment, I don't think. So helicopters behave just like the land pawns, but they can fly over the sea, although they cannot attack ships on their own. They cannot engage in combat on their own against naval battle groups, but they can take part in existing naval actions. Sounds a bit complicated, but you'll soon get the hang of it if you get stuck into the game. If you go back to one of our main battle groups here, which one with the flag, the actual main battle group, the Special Aviation Regiment, we can see a number of things that are worth knowing. First of all, we'll have a look at the initiative. So you can see the initiative here. This has got 5 slots for initiative, and it's got 2 initiative points left. Now, initiative determines the capacity of a group to perform specific actions. For example, moving from one sector to another costs 2 initiative points. So if I wanted to move this to this sector over here, as you can see, the arrows allow me to go to that sector. That would cost me 2 initiative points. If I wanted to go to that sector, it would also cost me 2, and there is a little number 2 on there as well, and it would cost me 2 initiative points. So you need initiative points to move. Triggering a battle So if you want to attack, that will also cost you 1 initiative points. So if these had 2, they could move to there, but they couldn't attack into the next one or anything like that. Also, there is a way to replace some losses in this game by using what's called the Refit Command. If you use the Refit Command, you'll stay still basically for 1 turn, and it will cost you 2 initiative points. So the initiative points are to have actions: movement, refit, and for an attack command to attack in a battle. If you haven't got any initiative, you can still defend in a battle. You just can't take on the opposition and attack in a battle. Cohesion next. See, this one's got 4 cohesion boxes, but it hasn't got any cohesion in there. These would be orange if it had some cohesion. Have we got any with cohesion? That one's got 1 there. We'll go back to that one. So it's got 4 cohesion points. So cohesion helps to determine the number of command points available to the battle group during a battle. For example, if 2 battle groups have 2 and 4 initiative, or sorry, 2 and 4 cohesion points respectively, they would then receive 6 command points every 4 seconds during a battle. So basically, cohesion gets you more reinforcements during a tactical battle. So for example, if we had this one and this one, we'd just have 1 cohesion point in total. So we would be getting 1 extra point every 4 seconds for reinforcements. Whereas over here we've got 2 and 1, so we'd have 3 cohesion points. So we get 3 points every second. Every 4 seconds during the tactical battle. Next thing to look at is morale, and here we've got a morale of 5, and morale is used to determine the score that the enemy needs to obtain during a battle in order to force you to rout. And the better your morale, the more damage they have to do to your force to make you out and to win the battle, and vice versa, you against them as well. So morale points increase the number of destructions that you can withstand, basically. Each morale point means that 10% of total forces must be defeated to rout the enemy. So if you have 6 morale points, this means that your opponent will have to destroy the equivalent of 60% of your forces in order to rout your units. We've also got the number of units here. We've got 48 units in this particular battle group, and the number of units is the total number of units in the battle group. Also, one point to make here is that if this number falls under a certain threshold, a critical threshold, the battle group is actually destroyed. I don't know what that threshold is, but if it falls too low, that battle group is removed from the game. Each sector on the strategic map corresponds to a tactical map on which the battles unfold. So for example, and you can look at these, so for example, if you click on show map here, and then click on the area of the map where you want to have a look. So we can click on Yeongdeuk here, and this will be the tactical map on which you will fight this particular battle if you engage the enemy in that region. So you can sort of have an idea of what units you might need or what battle groups and stuff you want to send to that sector. If we have a look at the home sector, if we go show map and you just click on Busan, you can see this is what the home sector looks like. And you can also see where all the reinforcements are coming in from. These basically correspond to the roads or the sea routes. So you can see here, what else can we look at? So if we've got show map again, we could have a look at Seoul, for example. So you've got a naval sector there and a sector there, and a couple of sectors here with, or 3 sectors in fact, with reinforcement points there as well. So you need to think about all these things when you are preparing to do battle within these sectors. The blue 4 controlled sectors are displayed in blue and the red 4 in red, as you might expect. If it has blue and red hatchings, then it is a theatre of battle between the 2 factors. So I will show you that shortly, but I don't want to move the units currently. So if I put some units into here and then pressed end turn, and they put some units into the same sectors that my units are in, then we would then do battle in each of those sectors. And that in fact is what happens in the Busan Pocket campaign. These would then be hatched blue and red, and that's where current battles are being fought. Now some sectors are primary campaign objectives, and some sectors could be secondary campaign objectives. For example, the Busan Pocket, clearly it's got a big star, it's a primary objective in this one, and then we've got 3 more primary objectives in the north up here. A primary objective must be absolutely held in order to win the victory, and a secondary objective enables you to basically win a greater type of victory. Now another thing that's really important is up on the top left hand corner here you can see your political points, and the political points, we've got 30 here, are a crucial element to your war effort, and you can spend these political points to buy in reinforcements. So they behave in a sort of similar way to the deployments in the tactical map, so they're called political points when they're used in the strategic part of the turn-based game. So if you click on that, you can see there's some things that you can bring in. We've got land forces and air forces. So these are the land forces we can bring in. So we've got an anti-air sort of units there. We've got some artillery units. We've got some more anti-tank units, and attack helicopter, and some logistic. And these are all in fact companies. We can also get some air force in, so we've got some different types of air squadrons that we can also bring in as well if we want to, but they do cost points, and you can see this one costs 10 points, this one costs 5 points, this one costs 15 points, and you can get some idea if you just click on it as to what's in that unit, in that sort of group of units, that battle group, before you decide to purchase it. And when you purchase it, I mean, for the first one I would certainly get these anti-air, because they've got quite a lot of air they might bring in to attack the Busan Pocket, so I'd probably get some, spend 10 points to get some anti-air, and you can put them in one of your home units. So if I click on there, the anti-air unit should appear, and there it is, the anti-air unit over there. It's 1 cohesion point and 3 initiative points, so that would also be able to move and also to fight in a battle as well. You earn political points by controlling sectors, so, and that's the number next to the name of the sector. So for example, Busan is worth 15 initiative points each turn. So every turn that you hold Busan, you'll get an extra 15 initiative points to add to the now 20, because I've already spent 10 on those anti-air units. And you can see the enemy is getting 5, 10, 15 initiative points per turn as well. Now another thing you can see on the strategic map are certain infrastructures like airports, harbours, naval repairs, sea routes and things like that. Now airports, we've spoken briefly about them already. These infrastructures are distributed in various map sectors. There's one here in our sector, and the enemy's got one up here and one over here in Donghae as well. And there are these contain the air squadrons that you buy, and these ones that you buy are deployed in the airport. So if you buy something with your political points, they have to be deployed somewhere in an airport. These air squadrons can also carry out repairs in the airports via the Refit Command, which sort of restores the sort of health and numbers to your units if you use the Refit Command. Of course, you do lose a turn if you use the Refit Command as well. Now if an airport is captured by the enemy, as I've mentioned already, all the squadrons based at that airport are destroyed. You've also got harbours, and there's one down here and there's one over here for the enemy as well. And harbours, so basically land battle groups that you buy are deployed in harbours. So for example, you saw that air sort of battle group I bought, we deployed that in Busan, which is a harbour. Battle groups can carry out repairs at harbours as well via the Refit Command, as before. Ports can also be used to embark or disembark land units that are transported by boats. We've also got naval repair sectors, and you can see there's one up here. This is a naval repair sector over here. And these infrastructures are off the coast and represent a harbour's capacity to repair naval units, again via the Refit Command. We've also got sea routes, and there's one over here. Naval Sector Charlie, and naval battle groups that you buy are deployed in your sea routes. Sea routes also enable you to repair your ship via the Refit Command again. Now infrastructures thus enable battle groups to recover their initial numbers via the Refit Command, and refit actions do cost political points and also immobilise your group for a turn as well. So you need to really decide what you want to spend your political points on. Do you want to sort of regain the sort of number of units in your original groups, or do you want to add more groups? And also, if you do use the refit, your that particular battle group has to stop moving and doing anything for one turn. And one final thing to have a look at is the ability of some units to undergo transformations. Now, some pawns can transform. Such is the case with marine units or units that are transported by ships. These particular units can embark if they are in a sector that includes a port controlled by their faction. They transform into groups of ships in the nearest naval sector and can then move by sea. They can also transform back into land units when they disembark in a different port also controlled by their factions, or even without a port in the case of Marines. So in the Busan Pocket you've got a whole load of Marines that are going to be able to attack Seoul for you, and you don't actually have to control the port of Seoul in order to transform your Marines and get them into Seoul. Try to remember that, because that does fox some people when they first start doing the Busan campaign. These sectors are shown by these arrows here, these grey arrows. So basically sectors with beaches on in which Marines can land are indicated by these big bold arrow, this big bold arrow here. So that's it for this campaign video. In the next campaign video we're going to be looking a little bit more at the tactical battles that occur, at the battle system, at the victory conditions and stuff like that. And so thanks for watching this one, and please do comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.